You are seeking a transformation so profound it borders on the forbidden, a shift in your very essence that forges not just strength, but a mind of dangerous power. Forget gentle nudges and comforting affirmations. This is the 7-day mental alchemy, forging a mind of dangerous power. And over the next 7 days, we embark on a ruthless, intensive process to transmute the lead of your current limitations into the gold of unshakable mental fortitude. This isn't about feeling a little better. It's about becoming fundamentally different, radically more capable, and undeniably potent. Each day, you will be handed a key, a specific alchemical operation to perform upon your own consciousness. Ignore these at your peril, for the path to such power demands unflinching commitment. Embrace them, and by the end of this week, the mind you inhabit will be an instrument of such refined and formidable capacity that the world, and your place in it, will never look the same. This is not a promise of ease. It is a guarantee of metamorphosis if you have the courage to see it through. Prepare to dismantle the old and forge the new. The alchemy begins now. Day 1, Calcination, the conflagration of weakness. The first stage of any true alchemical work is calcination. In the ancient laboratories, it meant heating a substance in a crucible until it was reduced to a fine ash, burning away all volatile impurities. For our purpose, the 7-day mental alchemy, Day 1 is about subjecting your inner world to an unsparing fire. We are burning away the dross, the mental and emotional deadwood that chokes your potential and renders you predictable, manipulable, and weak. This is the day you confront the brutal truth of your own self-sabotage, your excuses, your comfortable victimhood. What is this dross? It's the "I can't because" narratives you recite like a prayer. It's the fear of judgment that keeps your voice small and your actions timid. It's the lingering resentment from past hurts that you allow to poison your present. It's the addiction to comfort and the avoidance of necessary pain. These are not benign character quirks. They are chains. And today we begin to shatter them with fire. The dangerous power we seek is impossible if built on a foundation of unacknowledged weakness. A mind that flinches from honest self-assessment, that crumbles under pressure, or that is enslaved by fleeting emotions is a liability, not a weapon. True power begins with radical self-honesty, the kind that feels like a burn. Consider the blacksmith forging a sword. He doesn't coddle the raw ore. He thrusts it into the fiercest heat, knowing that only by burning away the slag, the impurities, can he reveal the strong, resilient steel within. Your mind is that ore. Today, you are both the blacksmith and the fire. The brutal truth is you have coddled your weaknesses. You've given them names, justifications, even identities. I'm just an anxious person. I've always been a procrastinator. It's not my fault, it's because of X, Y, or Z. These are the impurities. Calcination demands you stop identifying with your weaknesses and start identifying them as targets for annihilation. Actionable steps for Day 1. The purge inventory. Take a pen and paper. No screens. Write down every excuse you've made in the last month, every task avoided, every fear indulged, every instance where you chose comfort over growth or silence over speaking your truth. Be unflinchingly honest. This list is your fuel for the fire. The ritual of release. Read your list. For each item, consciously acknowledge it not as a part of you, but as a pattern and impurity. Then symbolically destroy it. You can burn the list safely, of course, tear it into tiny pieces, or visualize feeding it into a mental furnace. The act of physical release is potent. As you do so, state aloud, "This weakness is not me. I release it to the flames." Embrace discomfort deliberately. Identify one small thing today that you typically avoid due to discomfort. It could be a difficult conversation, a task you've been putting off, or even a physical discomfort like a cold shower. Do it. Lean into the discomfort. This is the practical application of the fire tempering your resolve. The more you willingly face small fires, the less you'll fear the infernos. Affirmation of purgation. Throughout the day, repeat this. I am the alchemist of my mind. I burn away all that does not serve my highest power. I am forging strength from the ashes of my limitations. Ignoring this stage means any subsequent efforts are built on a rotten foundation. You might acquire new skills or knowledge, but the underlying weaknesses will eventually undermine you. The positive outcome of successful calcination is a profound lightness, a sense of liberation from old burdens. You begin to feel the raw, unadulterated potential that was always there, buried beneath the ash. This isn't about self-flagellation, it's about purification. It's the essential first step towards a mind that doesn't just cope, but commands. Tomorrow we build upon this cleared ground. Day 2, Dissolution, drowning illusions in the waters of truth. Having burned away the most obvious dross in calcination, Day 2 of our mental alchemy brings us to dissolution. In classical alchemy, this involves dissolving the calcined ashes in water or other solvents to further separate the subtle from the gross. For us, this water is the piercing clarity of unvarnished truth, and we are dissolving the pervasive illusions that have clouded your perception and diluted your power. The world, and often your own mind, weaves intricate webs of illusion. These are the societal narratives, the cultural conditionings, the limiting beliefs disguised as common sense, and the self-deceptions you've accepted as reality. These illusions keep you chasing phantoms, valuing the superficial and fearing shadows. A mind of dangerous power must be a mind anchored in reality, not adrift in a sea of convenient fictions. What illusions are we targeting? The illusion that external validation defines your worth. The illusion that happiness is a destination achieved through acquiring things or status. The illusion that you are owed anything by the world, comfort, success, or even fairness. The illusion that your past dictates your future. The illusion that you have unlimited time. The illusion that most people are operating from a place of logic and goodwill. These are just a few. Imagine a finely ground powder, the calcined remnants of your obvious weaknesses. Now, imagine stirring this powder into a clear solvent. The truly valuable elements begin to separate, while the remaining impurities either dissolve into nothingness or become clearly visible for removal. That's what we're doing with your belief systems. We are testing them against the harsh solvent of reality. The brutal truth is that many of your cherished beliefs are not your own. They were installed by your upbringing, by media, by an education system designed for compliance, and by a society that often prefers comfortable conformity over disruptive truth. To forge dangerous power, you must become a ruthless interrogator of every thought, every assumption. Consider a man, let's call him Alex, who spent years chasing a high-powered corporate career. He believed the illusion that the corner office, the six-figure salary, and the admiration of his peers would bring him fulfillment. He sacrificed his health, his relationships, and his true passions on this altar. One day, after a particularly soul-crushing project, he looked at his life. The expensive apartment felt empty, the accolades hollow. The solvent of a personal crisis dissolved the illusion. He realized the power he sought wasn't in the title, but in the freedom to live authentically, a freedom he had traded away. He had to dissolve the externally imposed definition of success to find his own. Actionable steps for Day 2. The illusion audit. Identify 3 major beliefs you hold about success, happiness, or your own capabilities. For each belief, ask, where did this belief originate? Whose voice is this truly? What evidence supports it in my direct experience versus what I've been told? What would happen if I chose to believe the opposite? Write down your unfiltered answers. This is about critical examination, not judgment. The media fast reality immersion. For 24 hours, drastically reduce or eliminate your consumption of mainstream news, social media, and entertainment that promotes superficial values. Instead, spend time in nature, engage in deep conversation with someone you trust, read challenging nonfiction, or simply sit in silence and observe your own thoughts without the usual external noise. This creates space for truth to surface. Question a should. Identify one thing you do or believe because you feel you should. I should always be nice. I should want a traditional family. I should feel guilty for wanting more. Challenge this should today. Ask why. Is it truly aligned with your core self, or is it an inherited script? Experiment with acting contrary to that should in a small, safe way and observe the results and your feelings. Affirmation of clarity. Repeat. I dissolve all illusions that limit me. I seek and embrace the unvarnished truth. My perception is my power. Failing to dissolve these illusions means you're operating with a distorted map of reality. You'll make poor decisions, chase meaningless goals, and remain susceptible to manipulation. The power you build will be misdirected, like a cannon aimed at a mirage. Successfully navigating dissolution brings profound clarity. The world starts to look different, sharper. Your motivations become cleaner, your path clearer. You begin to see through the noise, to discern what truly matters for the forging of your unique power. This clarity is not always comfortable, truth often isn't, but it is always empowering. Day 3. Separation, isolating the invincible core. We have burned away the gross impurities and dissolved the pervasive illusions. Now, on day 3 of the 7-day mental alchemy, we enter the crucial stage of separation. In alchemy, this means carefully separating the desired elements, now purified and distinct, from any remaining less valuable substances. In our mental alchemy, separation is about isolating your authentic, potent self from all external and internal influences that dilute, distract, or drain your burgeoning power. It's about drawing sharp, inviolable boundaries and cultivating an unshakable inner sovereignty. Your mind, even after calcination and dissolution, is still constantly bombarded by the demands of others, by societal expectations, by energy vampires, by your own lingering habits of people-pleasing or seeking external approval. This noise prevents the consolidation of your power. A mind of dangerous power is a mind that knows itself, belongs to itself, and answers primarily to itself. Separation is where you learn to say no, not just to others, but to your own weaker impulses. It's where you consciously choose who and what gets access to your time, your energy, and your focus, recognizing these as your most precious resources. It's about disconnecting from the hive mind and strengthening your individual signal. The brutal truth is that you have allowed too many cooks in the kitchen of your mind. You've outsourced your decision-making, your emotional regulation, and even your sense of self-worth to external factors. This makes you porous, easily influenced, and fundamentally less potent. Dangerous power is self-contained and self-directed. Think of a sculptor who has hewn a rough form from a block of stone. The basic shape is there, the impurities removed. Now, with finer tools, he meticulously chips away everything that is not the final masterpiece. He separates the essence of his vision from the excess marble. You are that sculptor, and your authentic, powerful self is the masterpiece waiting to be fully revealed. Every unnecessary commitment, every toxic relationship, every energy-draining habit is excess marble that must be chipped away. Consider Sarah, a talented graphic designer who was constantly overwhelmed. She said yes to every project, every social invitation, every family demand, fearing she'd disappoint someone or miss an opportunity. Her own creative wellspring was running dry. Her separation moment came when she realized her relentless yes was a profound no to her own well-being and her most important work. She began to ruthlessly edit her commitments. She declined projects that didn't align with her passion, limited her exposure to draining relatives, and carved out non-negotiable time for deep work and rejuvenation. The initial discomfort of saying no was immense, but it was quickly replaced by a surge of energy, clarity, and creative output. She had separated her vital essence from the noise. Actionable steps for Day 3. The energy audit and boundary setting. List the top 3 people, activities, or environments that consistently leave you feeling drained, anxious, or diminished. For each, define one specific, actionable boundary you will implement today. This could be limiting contact, saying no to a request, or removing yourself from a situation. The Sovereignty Declaration. Spend at least 30 minutes in complete solitude without distractions. During this time, write a declaration of inner sovereignty. In this, clearly state what principles will guide your decisions, what values you will prioritize, and what you will no longer tolerate in your life or from others. This is a contract with yourself. Practice strategic disengagement. Identify one social media platform, news source, or recurring argument conversation that consistently pulls you into negativity or unproductive reactivity. Consciously disengage from it for the entire day. Notice the mental space that opens up. Affirmation of self-possession. Repeat. My mind is my own sovereign territory. I protect my energy fiercely. I am separate from that which weakens me and united with my core strength. Neglecting separation means your power remains diffuse, easily siphoned off by external demands and internal conflicts. You become a conduit for others' agendas rather than the architect of your own. Successfully achieving separation creates a fortified inner sanctum. Your energy becomes yours to direct. Your focus sharpens. You begin to experience the profound strength that comes from knowing who you are, independent of external validation or influence. This isolated, self-possessed core is the bedrock upon which true, formidable power is built. Day 4, Conjunction, the sacred union of inner forces. With the authentic self now separated and fortified, Day 4 of our mental alchemy guides us into conjunction. This is one of the most mysterious and profound alchemical stages. Classically, it refers to the recombination of the purified elements, often symbolized as the marriage of the king and queen, Sol and Luna, sulfur and mercury, to create a new, more potent substance. In our mental alchemy, conjunction is about integrating the seemingly contradictory aspects of your own being, your light and shadow, your logic and intuition, your strength and vulnerability, into a harmonious, powerful whole. It's about ending the inner civil war. A mind divided against itself cannot wield dangerous power. It will be sabotaged from within. Many people operate with a fragmented psyche. They repress their negative emotions, deny their unacceptable desires, or project their unowned traits onto others. This creates immense internal tension and weakness. Conjunction is the process of bravely facing, accepting, and ultimately integrating these disowned parts. The brutal truth is that your perceived flaws, your shadow aspects, the parts of you that you fear or dislike, often hold immense untapped power. Your anger, if understood and channeled, can become a fuel for justice and boundary setting. Your fear, if faced, can become a source of profound courage. Your sadness, if allowed, can deepen your empathy and wisdom. To deny these parts is to deny access to their inherent strengths. Imagine 2 powerful, warring factions within a kingdom. As long as they fight, the kingdom is weak and vulnerable. Conjunction is the diplomatic feat of bringing these factions to the negotiating table, making them understand they are part of the same whole, and forging an alliance where their combined strengths make the kingdom invincible. Your mind is that kingdom. Your masculine, assertive energy and your feminine, receptive energy, your logical analysis and your gut feelings, your ambition and your need for rest, all must be brought into conscious, respectful union. Consider Marcus, a highly disciplined entrepreneur who prided himself on his ruthless efficiency and emotional detachment. He saw vulnerability as a weakness to be eradicated. However, this suppression led to burnout, strained relationships, and a creative plateau. His conjunction began when a crisis forced him to confront the grief and fear he had long buried. By allowing himself to feel these weaker emotions, he didn't shatter. Instead, he discovered a deeper well of resilience, a newfound empathy that improved his leadership, and a more intuitive approach to problem-solving. He integrated his shadow, his suppressed vulnerability with his light, his discipline, and became a more whole and therefore more powerfully effective human being. His power became less brittle, more adaptable. Actionable steps for Day 4. Shadow dialogue. Identify one trait or emotion in yourself that you typically judge or repress, e.g., anger, envy, fear, laziness, sadness. Set aside 15-20 minutes. In a journal, write a dialogue with this part of yourself. Ask it what it needs, what it fears, what wisdom it might hold for you if you stopped fighting it. Approach it with curiosity, not judgment. Embrace a paradox. Think of two qualities you possess that seem contradictory, e.g., you are both analytical and creative, assertive and compassionate, disciplined and spontaneous. Deliberately find a way to express both qualities in a single activity or interaction today. For example, approach a problem with rigorous logic, but allow intuitive leaps to guide your solution. The and statement. Notice when you use but to negate a part of yourself, e.g., I want to be successful, but I'm afraid of failure. Reframe these using and I want to be successful and I feel afraid of failure. This simple shift acknowledges the coexistence of different states without invalidating either, paving the way for integration. Affirmation of wholeness. Repeat. I embrace all parts of myself. My light and shadow unite to serve my highest purpose. I am whole, integrated, and powerful. Avoiding conjunction leads to a perpetually fractured self. You will swing between extremes, be prone to projection, and lack the deep, stable power that comes from inner coherence. Your actions will be inconsistent, your energy scattered. Successfully navigating conjunction is like forging an alloy far stronger than its individual components. Your mind becomes more flexible, resilient, and resourceful. The dangerous power you cultivate becomes less about brute force and more about adaptable, intelligent strength, capable of navigating complexity with grace and authority. This inner union is the crucible for a truly formidable psyche. Day 5. Fermentation, cultivating unstoppable inner drive. Having achieved a new level of inner union through conjunction, Day 5 of the 7-day mental alchemy immerses us in the stage of fermentation. In traditional alchemy, fermentation is a process of decomposition and revitalization. It involves the death of the old substance and the introduction of a new living agent, like yeast, to bring about a higher, more potent form. For our mental alchemy, fermentation is about the death of old, limiting self-concepts and the cultivation of a potent, self-generating, and unstoppable inner drive, a burning purpose that animates your newly integrated self. This is where the dangerous power begins to truly seethe and build. It's not enough to be whole, you must be driven. Fermentation is the alchemical process that imbues your being with an almost living fire, a relentless will to grow, to achieve, to manifest your deepest potential. It is the cultivation of intrinsic motivation so powerful it becomes a force of nature. The brutal truth is that much of what you previously considered motivation was likely extrinsic, driven by fear of punishment, desire for reward, or the need for external approval. This kind of motivation is fickle and unsustainable. Fermentation creates motivation from within, a deep inner why that fuels you even in the face of obstacles, setbacks, or lack of external recognition. Think of the grape. Crushed, calcination, dissolution, separation, conjunction have prepared it. It then undergoes fermentation. The sugars are consumed by yeast, and in this apparent decay and transformation, a new, more potent and spirited substance, wine, is born. The old, passive grape dies to give life to the active, vibrant wine. Similarly, your old, more passive self, your comfort-seeking self, must die to allow the emergence of this fiercely driven, purpose-fueled being. This death is the letting go of limiting identities and small ambitions. Consider Alina, an artist who had talent but lacked consistent drive. She'd start projects with enthusiasm, then fizzle out. Her fermentation began after a period of deep disillusionment, the death of her old artistic identity that relied on fleeting inspiration. She then reconnected with a childhood dream, a profound desire to tell a specific story through her art, a story that felt urgent and deeply personal. This became her yeast, her living agent of change. This purpose wasn't about fame or money, it was an internal imperative. It fueled her through creative blocks, rejections, and long hours. Her art gained a new depth and power because it was now animated by this fermented, indomitable will. Actionable steps for Day 5. The why excavation. Go deeper than superficial goals. Ask yourself repeatedly, why do I want X? Until you hit a bedrock emotional driver, a core value, or a fundamental desire that resonates with your soul. E.g., I want financial freedom. Why? So I don't have to worry. Why? So I can feel secure. Why? So I can fully express myself without constraint. This deep why is your fermenting agent. Write it down, make it visible. The ritual of commitment, based on your deepest why. Identify one significant long-term goal that embodies it. Today, perform a small, symbolic act of unwavering commitment towards this goal. This isn't about finishing it today, it's about signaling to your subconscious that you are now irrevocably on this path. This could be making a financial investment, publicly declaring your intention to a trusted person, or taking the first, irreversible step. Embrace productive destruction. Identify one old habit, belief, or comfort zone that is actively hindering the pursuit of your new, purpose-driven goal. Consciously decide to kill it. For example, if your goal requires early rising, destroy the habit of late-night scrolling. If it requires focused work, destroy the habit of constant distraction. Be ruthless. This death makes space for the new life. Affirmation of purposeful fire. Repeat. My purpose is my fire. It consumes all obstacles. I am driven by an unstoppable inner force. My will is indomitable. Without fermentation, your integrated self remains potent but passive. It has potential but no engine. You risk becoming a beautifully crafted ship with no wind in its sails. The dangerous power remains latent. Successfully igniting this inner fermentation transforms you into a self-propelled force. Your actions gain a relentless momentum. Obstacles become fuel. Your presence begins to radiate an intensity, a sense of deep, unwavering purpose that others will feel. This is the stage where your power starts to become truly dynamic and influential. Day 6. Distillation, refining for pure mental potency. After the intense inner drive of fermentation has been ignited, Day 6 of the 7-day mental alchemy brings us to distillation. In chemical alchemy, distillation is a process of purification by heating a liquid to create vapor, and then cooling the vapor to collect the condensed, more refined liquid, leaving impurities behind. For our mental alchemy, distillation is about refining your consciousness to its purest, most potent essence. It's about achieving supreme mental clarity, sharpening your intuition to a razor's edge, and mastering your emotional and energetic responses with exquisite precision. If fermentation gave you the raw, powerful engine, distillation fine-tunes that engine for peak performance and efficiency. This is where dangerous power becomes not just strong, but sophisticated, subtle, and incredibly effective. It's about elevating your awareness to a point where you perceive more, understand more deeply, and act with unerring accuracy. The brutal truth is that even a driven mind can be inefficient if it's cluttered with mental noise, clouded by emotional reactivity, or dulled by a lack of focused attention. Untamed thoughts scatter energy. Uncontrolled emotions distort perception and lead to regrettable actions. A powerful mind that lacks refinement can be like a cannon that fires wildly, still destructive, but not precise or strategic. Distillation is about cultivating that precision. Think of a master archer. She has strength, calcination, separation. She has integrated her body and mind, conjunction. She has a powerful intent to hit the target, fermentation. But distillation is the endless practice of refining her breath, her focus, her release, until the arrow flies with almost preternatural accuracy, guided by a calm, clear, and highly attuned awareness. It's the subtle adjustments that make the difference between a good shot and a perfect one. Your thoughts, your focus, your intuition, these are your arrows. Consider James, a negotiator known for his sharp intellect. He was driven and knowledgeable, but sometimes his temper, undistilled emotional energy, or his tendency to overthink, mental clutter, would sabotage delicate deals. His distillation process involved rigorous mindfulness practice, learning to observe his thoughts and emotions without instant reaction, and deliberately cultivating moments of deep calm before critical engagements. He learned to listen not just to words, but to the subtle energies in the room, honing his intuition. His power didn't diminish. It became quieter, more penetrating, and far more effective. He could now sense shifts in the room, anticipate objections, and guide conversations with an almost invisible hand, achieving outcomes that previously eluded him. His power was distilled, pure, and precise. Actionable steps for Day 6. The Clarity Catalyst Mindfulness Meditation. Engage in at least 20-30 minutes of dedicated mindfulness meditation. Focus on your breath, observing thoughts and sensations without judgment, letting them pass like clouds. The goal is not to stop thinking, but to detach from the thoughts, to observe them from a place of stillness. This practice distills your awareness. Intuition honing exercise. Identify a minor decision you need to make today. Gather the logical facts, then set them aside. Sit quietly, tune into your gut feeling or inner knowing. What does it suggest? Act on this intuitive nudge, even if it seems slightly illogical, and observe the outcome. The more you consciously consult and act on your intuition in small ways, the stronger and more reliable it becomes. Emotional refinement protocol. Throughout the day, when you feel a strong emotion arise, positive or negative, pause before reacting. Name the emotion. Ask yourself, what is the core message or need beneath this emotion? Then consciously choose your response rather than letting the emotion dictate it. This isn't suppression, it's conscious channeling and refinement. Affirmation of pure potency. Repeat. My mind is clear, my focus sharp, my intuition true. I am a conduit of pure, potent energy. Every thought, every action is precise and powerful. Neglecting distillation means your power, however strong, remains crude and somewhat unpredictable. You may achieve things through sheer force of will, but you'll expend unnecessary energy, make avoidable mistakes, and lack the finesse of true mastery. Successfully distilling your consciousness brings a sense of effortless power, profound calm, and penetrating insight. Your mind becomes like a perfectly focused laser beam, capable of achieving extraordinary things with minimal waste and maximum impact. This refined potency is the hallmark of a truly dangerous, as in, formidably capable mind. Day 7. Coagulation, solidifying the philosopher's stone of power. We have journeyed through the fires of calcination, the waters of dissolution, the meticulousness of separation, the unity of conjunction, the dynamism of fermentation, and the purity of distillation. Now on day 7, the final day of the 7-day mental alchemy, we arrive at coagulation. In classical alchemy, this is the miraculous culmination, the solidification of the refined elements into the legendary philosopher's stone, a substance said to transmute base metals into gold and grant enlightenment or immortality. For our mental alchemy, coagulation is the integration and embodiment of all the preceding transformations into a new, stable, and enduring state of being. It's the permanent forging of your mind of dangerous power. This isn't just about having had powerful experiences during the week. It's about becoming the person who embodies that power consistently and naturally. Coagulation means the alchemical changes are no longer temporary states you strive for, but are now your default operating system. Your newfound clarity, purpose, resilience, and integrated strength solidify into an unshakable core identity. The brutal truth is that many seek transformation but fail to make it permanent. They have moments of insight or motivation, but soon slip back into old patterns because the changes were not deeply coagulated into their being. The dangerous power we have forged this week must become your new normal, not an occasional peak experience. It must be woven into the very fabric of your thoughts, your reactions, your decisions, and your presence. Think of the master blacksmith who, after all the heating, hammering, and quenching, has finally created the perfect blade. Coagulation is like the final tempering and sharpening, ensuring the blade holds its edge, its strength, its form under any stress. It's the process that makes the transformation irreversible and the power enduring. Your mind, forged through the alchemical stages, now needs to be tempered into a permanent state of formidable resilience and capability. Consider Anya, who went through a period of intense personal development, much like our 7-day alchemy. She faced her fears, defined her purpose, and sharpened her focus. But the real test was coagulation. Could she sustain it? She did this by creating non-negotiable daily rituals that reinforced her new mindset, meditation, journaling, physical training aligned with her new self. She consciously chose environments and relationships that supported her transformed state and ruthlessly cut out those that threatened to pull her back. She actively sought challenges that would test and therefore solidify her new strength. Over time, her dangerously powerful mind wasn't something she had to try to access. It was simply who she had become. Her presence exuded quiet confidence and unwavering resolve because the alchemical gold was now her very substance. Actionable steps for day 7 and beyond. The embodiment blueprint. Review the insights and practices from each of the past 6 days. Identify 1-2 key principles or practices from each stage that you will integrate into your daily or weekly life moving forward. This is not about adding more tasks, but about structuring your life to be the transformed self. Write this blueprint down. The test of resilience. Deliberately seek out a small, controlled challenge today that would have previously intimidated you or triggered old patterns. Apply your newly forged mental tools, your clarity, your integrated strength, your refined focus to navigate it. Observe how differently you experience and respond to it. This reinforces the coagulation. The declaration of new being. Write a powerful, present-tense declaration of who you are now. Not who you are becoming, but who you are, embodying the dangerous power you've forged. E.g., I am a being of unshakable inner peace and formidable will. I navigate life with clarity, purpose, and potent grace. My mind is my greatest ally, a source of limitless strength and creativity. Read this daily. Affirmation of enduring transformation. Repeat. The alchemy is complete. The stone is formed. I am a permanent embodiment of dangerous power, wisdom, and resilience. This is who I am. Without coagulation, the entire week's work, however profound, risks fading like a vivid dream. The philosopher's stone crumbles back into dust. The dangerous power becomes a fleeting memory. Successful coagulation means you have fundamentally rewired your being. This isn't the end of your growth, but the establishment of a new, vastly more powerful baseline from which all future growth will spring. You no longer just seek power, you are power. Not a power over others, but the ultimate power. Power over yourself, power to shape your reality, power to withstand any storm, power to live with profound purpose and unyielding integrity. Conclusion: the alchemist's responsibility. You stand now at the culmination of the 7-day mental alchemy, forging a mind of dangerous power. The crucible has cooled, the elements have transformed. If you have engaged authentically with each day's process, the mind you possess now is not the mind you started with. It is sharper, stronger, clearer, more integrated, more purposeful, and more potent. This dangerous power you have begun to forge is not a weapon for aggression, but a shield of invincibility, a tool for creation, and a compass for navigating life with unwavering self-possession. This 7-day journey was an initiation, a concentrated forging. The real work, the lifetime mastery, begins now. The philosopher's stone is not a static trophy. It is a living, dynamic state of being that requires continued awareness and conscious application. You must now live from this place of power. You must make choices aligned with the potent self you have uncovered. You must continue to refine, to strengthen, to embody. The world does not easily make space for individuals of true mental fortitude. It will test you. Old habits and external pressures may seek to erode your newfound strength. This is where the dangerous aspect becomes your ally, dangerous to mediocrity, dangerous to manipulation, dangerous to your own former limitations. Carry the lessons of calcination, dissolution, separation, conjunction, fermentation, distillation, and coagulation into every interaction, every decision, every challenge. Remember the fire that burns away weakness, the water that dissolves illusion, the blade that separates your truth, the union that creates wholeness, the ferment that fuels purpose, the still that refines perception, and the immutable strength of your coagulated power. This is your mind forged anew. Wield its power with wisdom, with integrity, and with an unshakable commitment to your highest potential. The alchemy has shown you the way. Now walk the path. Go forth and let the dangerous power of your transformed mind shape a destiny worthy of its extraordinary capabilities. The forging is complete. The mastery continues.